My name is Cody. I love anime and all the popular girls think I'm a freak because of it. This takes place at my elementary in 5th grade. I had a Sailor Moon book bag and all the popular girls took one look at my bag and laughed their heads off. The teasing became more and more aggressive until one day whenever we went out to recess, me and my friends were on the monkey bars and they got rocks in their hands while we were climbing across. They threw the rocks at us. I fell down and almost broke my foot. When I got home, I ran up to my room and cried my eyes out. It looked like waterfalls were falling from my eyeballs. Then I made the worst decision of my life. I broke all my anime figurines of Sailor Moon and My Hero Academia and all that stuff because I was so ashamed, and I got into my closet and I found my cosplay stuff, on the ground because I constantly change out of it. And then I picked a random one up. It was my favorite, which was the Sailor Moon one. I sat down and asked myself, what am I doing? I put the dress on and then I got my wig out, put on the wig cap, and then I looked in the mirror and then smiled at myself. The next day, I wore my Sailor Moon cosplay to school because it was in dress code. I walked up to the popular girls during lunch and I told them how they made me feel. Everyone in the lunchroom was looking at me and them because this random girl with the Sailor Moon cosplay was just yelling at these popular girls. And we have lunch with some of the 8th graders, and all of them afterwards, they walked up to me and asked if I was okay and stuff, which made me feel kind of good that other people cared about me besides my friends. And they kind of hid their faces because their faces were so red afterwards because they had just been told off by not a popular girl. I guess the moral of the story is definitely don't break expensive figurines. That's one. But don't change yourself just so that people won't judge you. You be you.
I never really liked my parents. We butted heads on everything, from political to religious beliefs. I consider myself an atheist and very liberal, and I am also unapologetically gay. My parents are rather conservative Muslims and are also extremely homophobic. I never was really public about my disagreements with them because I still wanted a roof over my head, food on the table, and money in my pocket. Because of that, I was able to forge a good but very artificial relationship with my parents. They saw me as practically perfect, a good and trusting kid. Both of my parents had very noticeable flaws, however. My mom liked to hold grudges, was quick to judge, and loved to enforce gender roles. My mom adamantly believed that boys were supposed to do yard work and take out the trash, and that girls only belonged in the kitchen and were predestined to become subservient Muslim housewives. My father was so invested in his work that he neglected to form any bonds with his children. They would constantly belittle my 4 sisters by not allowing them to have friends outside of school, have phones, participate in extracurricular activities, nor drive when they reached the legal age of 16. And then there's me. A couple years ago, I tried coming out to them, not once, but twice. The first time, they begged me to date girls because they took my coming out as a threat. The second time, I proceeded to fire a barrage of insults and false homophobic stereotypes about gay people, ranging from them being mentally ill to calling it a phase or choice. They threatened to completely disown me and assured that I won't succeed in life if I didn't quote-unquote fix myself. A fog of depression consumed me, and could only see myself being forever indebted to my parents. So I had to continue the facade of the straight Muslim boy in the house. I didn't think much of it at the time, but after telling my friends, they convinced me I was in a nearly abusive relationship with my family, and that I had to get far away from them to live my life and discover my full potential. It was at this moment that I took a much harsher stance against my parents, seeing them as my prison wardens instead of my loved ones. So I thought, where was the farthest I could get without them having a harsh impact on me while I could still be successful and thrive as a young gay, after doing some research, I could finally conclude that California would be the best place for me. A thriving LGBT community, lots of racial diversity and acceptance, and on the complete opposite side of the country. So, I applied to a few schools there in hopes I would get accepted, and sure enough, I did get into one of them, UCLA. It truly was one of the greatest moments of my life. I felt like a livable future was finally plausible. My parents were hesitant at first because of the distance, but happy to have me go, because they trusted I could succeed at a highly acclaimed school in Los Angeles. After moving there, I have never been happier to be part of a diverse community with amazing friends, support, and education. Although I have to come home every now and then to keep up my fake relationship, I am so relieved to be so strongly dissociated from that sinkhole I once called home. My next hope is that my sisters see and believe the truth about my parents and follow my footsteps and escape, so that they could live happy lives too.
I was born with a condition called alopecia, which means my hair follicles just weren't working and I never grew any hair on my head. So I was basically bald for most of my life because there's different types of alopecia. There's one where your hair can grow back and fall out, and there's one where it doesn't grow back. And I had that type, so it was pretty hard, like having no hair for most of my childhood, and I had to wear wigs and stuff, and it just wasn't very good. Whenever I was at sleepovers, they'd be like, oh my god, we should do our hair, and I just couldn't get my hair done because I didn't have any. And there was a few times where there were bullies and people were mean to me. Like one time in school, a boy pulled my wig off in front of everyone and everyone stared. It wasn't good. And then there's like a few times where I was confident enough to go out with no hair without putting on my wig, and there'd be people staring, pointing, laughing, and it was sad. But the good things that came with having no hair were I never got head lice. Like I remember getting a note home saying, there's head lice in your class, you should check your child's hair and stuff. And I never had to get checked, and I never had to get treated. I never had head lice because I just didn't have hair. And I'm also on a website called the Rapunzel Foundation, where children can donate their hair to people that don't have it. And actually, when I turned 10, my hair started to grow again, and I was like, this is so weird, why is this happening? And it grew and it grew and it kept growing, and then I got some hair extensions when it was long enough, and I had them for about a year, and then I decided I don't want them anymore, I want my own hair. And so I got them out, I got my hair trimmed, and it was just like a dream come true. I'd never gone out with my own head of hair, and it was just so great, and I was so happy, I was so confident. I liked this one guy. We were super close. We started talking like late at night and stuff, and he would ask me how my day was and what I did. He would ask me how I'm feeling and stuff like that. He'd be super nice. One day he asked me for nudes, and I said no, but he kept begging me, and I was like, maybe. I was trying to talk myself out of it, but then I was feeling like I don't know what to do. And we had this thing, and it was Claypole, the loser has to send nudes. And I said, how about something other than nudes? He said, alright, booty pics. And I said, fine. So we played, and I lost. So I had to send him some pictures. And he liked them. He was like, ooh, sexy, hot, and stuff. Later then, he asked me for nudes again. I said no, but I was on the phone with my friend. She was like, what are you gonna do? And he sent me a picture. And she was like, wait, no he didn't. And I said, yeah. And I showed my friend, and I was like, I don't know what to do. He's asking me for pictures still. And I was like, fine. So I sent him a picture of me in my bra. And then he was like, take the bra off. So I did, and I put my hands over my boobs, and he said, send it without your hands, and I put emojis. And then he was like, take the emojis off, and I was like, fine. I did, and he was like, ooh la la, I'll grab your butt and stuff at school if you keep sending them to me. And I was like, you know what, I want to go to bed. Good night. A month later, my mom found out that he sent me that because my friends were talking about it in the car, and she heard it. So then we had to talk about it with my therapist. She was like, did you send him it back? And I was like, no, because I kept lying because I was like, I don't want to. But then my mom threatened to take it up with the school district and like tell on him and say, this is child pornography. You better look up his picture and say like, oh, he did send it and like he should get punished for it. And I was like, Mom, you can't do that. And she was like, why did you send it back? And I was like, if I did, would you be mad? And she said, no. And I started crying and I poured down tears. And I told her the truth that I did. And she just hugged me. And she said, look, it's going to be all right. But you know you can't do that again. And I got grounded for a long time. And I never did anything like that again. Because the feeling of thinking that someone might find out and ruin your life sucks.